Hi and welcome to this brief demo of Lead Magpie. Lead Magpie is a lead generation solution powered by automation, and it is a sell by chat software and something you've probably not seen before. So let's jump straight in. The first thing I want to make sure that you understand is the Lead Magpie system. What I'm about to demo is the software. The software comes after you understand the system. So during this demo, I will refer to the system. If you're not sure what that is, please ask. I do have some more material that can explain that in a bit more detail. But let's jump in to the actual software. Okay, so what you've got in front of you right now is my LinkedIn profile. Okay, we're going to use LinkedIn for this demonstration. This software works on all social media platforms that has a DM, a direct message function. But I'm going to focus on LinkedIn because it is more business oriented. So let's jump into the software. So on screen right now is a typical visual of a CRM system. This will look familiar to many people because you've got your columns, you've got the headings, and you can track your prospects in your customer journey within the software. Now, I'm saying CRM because people understand it. It's easy to visualize what that actually is. Now, this software is a CRM, but has a magnitude of automation and features that I'm going to dive into. Not in too much detail because I don't want this video to last too long, but what I will show you is the power of it. Okay, so in phase one of the system, not the software, the system, we focus on your existing connections, okay? So what you will have is money on the table. You are already connected with your next client, but you don't have a system to collect the money, okay? So what my system allows you to do is import your existing connections from LinkedIn, as an example, and you will see them as little cards, right? So I'm going to just demonstrate a different pipeline just to show you visually what that would look like. So if I load my existing pipeline for machine safety, you will see that each individual prospect has a card, and we can drag them through the customer journey from left to right, right to left. If we want to drag them manually, we can. Now, the software moves them for us using automation strategically. Okay, so what I'm going to demonstrate now is the process that we follow in phase one. I keep mentioning phase one because phase one is your existing connections, and that is super important that we start there. We collect money that you're already connected with and low-hanging fruit. Phase two and phase three come after, but I won't get into that right now. Phase one is what we're focusing on. So let's get back to phase one, existing connections pipeline. The first thing we want to do, of course, is import the prospects. Okay, and to do that, we go to LinkedIn. We click on our profiles, view profile. We click on connections. And then we are able to connect to my existing connections through my Google Chrome extension. Okay, so what we'll be able to do is auto scroll my connections. Okay, so I can actually filter on name, I can filter on title, I can filter on many different things. And this Google Chrome extension over here allows us to auto scroll, so that will be hands-free. And for example, I could find 300 connections in less than a minute, okay, and I could import those in less than a minute. But obviously for this demo, I'm not going to import everybody. So I'm just going to quickly import profiles. I'm going to select the pipeline that I want them in, which is phase 1. I'm going to put them into the first stage, which is existing connections. Now the more options function means I can add a tag if I want to, existing connections, and that just so I can filter on them if I want to find them easier. I can add a value of them, so each prospect could be worth £2,000 for example, and I'm going to colour code them blue. Let's say they're a cold lead, right? You can choose hot if you think they're a hot lead. Right, start importing. Okay, so it won't duplicate any. Let's see what it's done. Go back to the software, refresh, and what I'm looking for in the existing connections column are the people that I've just brought in, okay? So, I'm using this as an example. So it's brought 7 of them in. The other 3 must be in a different pipeline, so it's not going to duplicate them. But what we have now, and this is the important bit, this is the bit where this is going to save you hours and hours and hours. Because what we can now do is qualify these people. We can reignite a conversation. We can automatically like posts, and we can automatically send them through the customer journey that is totally configurable. Okay, we can configure all of these columns. We can edit the automations behind them, like I've just demonstrating now. So the first thing we are going to do is qualify. So if we think, let's just play this back, the Lead Magpie system, we are trying to reach out, we are trying to connect or reconnect with our existing audience. Now we know that not everybody is going to be suited to your services. However, we need to find them. We need a way to find them easily. Okay, and this makes it easy, because what we can do is qualify the profile with what we call an audience. Okay, so my audience is called phase 1 audience, and I'll jump into that in a second because that has detail behind it to qualify and disqualify these people. Okay, so the disqualified people, when this automation runs, it will set them to not qualified. It will remove them from the system. Any that it's not sure of, it will skip, and then it will move it to the next phase, okay, which is the next column along. Okay, so if that runs, it qualifies against the audience, it kicks people out if it doesn't match, and it moves to the next stage when they're qualified. Okay, I've moved it manually just to demonstrate it. When the automation runs, it will move automatically. But let's have a quick look at the audience that I talked about. So if I click on audiences on the left hand side, and it was phase 1 audience, I think, if I can find it. There it is. So again, just for demonstration purposes. So 4 steps. So the first step is the name of it. The second step is the profile. So this is the criteria, okay? This is low-level criteria. So we can qualify based on gender. We can select what countries we want to either include or exclude. We can select which type of profiles that we want. So we can exclude private profiles. We can exclude people with no message button. We can exclude people with no profile photo. And we can exclude company pages. Notice on here about which social media platforms that these are relevant to, because obviously not every social media platform is the same. Therefore, the functionality is different dependent on which social media platform you are actually using. For the next step, this is the activity. So again, for Facebook and LinkedIn, we want a minimum of 100 connections or friends. For Facebook only, we want only just 1 mutual friend. And these, you can change these, right? You can change these. Level of connection, how many followers, whether they've ever posted, right? and if they've posted recently. So if I wanted to say, well, I want people that have posted in the last 90 days, okay, that's what it will scan. And the content, this is more about the keywords, okay? So if you're specifically looking for manufacturing or engineering or directors or founders or CEOs, this is what you would have in here to include, okay? So this is the qualification criteria, director, and so on. And the same in their profile information keywords. So the job title is their headline. Their profile information is their about section, and also any information about previous jobs that they've had. Okay, so the qualification criteria is good because it kicks out people that you definitely don't want to speak to. For example, my exclusion criteria over here is banking, a company called Aram, student, and apprentice. You could have things like retired. You could have any kind of things that, account handler, people that don't make decisions, so you can actually kick them out of the system, right? We're not looking to connect with people that don't make decisions. Okay, so when you're happy with that, we can save changes. I'm just going to cancel that for now because I don't want to make changes to it. But hopefully you can see now how we can actually qualify and disqualify based on specific criteria in people's profiles, okay? Remember, these people are already connected to you for a reason. We've got to find that reason out, if you're not sure. Okay, so what we can now do, once we're qualified, let's say these people are qualified. Okay, ignore the names because these are my connections and you might recognize some people. But let's lift the bonnet on a few of these automations. So what is the next phase going to do? Okay, so the next thing he's going to do, he's going to simply like a post, and it will be the latest post on their profile, and it will move it to the next stage. It will process a maximum of 10 leads, and it will have an interval between leads of 90 to 240 seconds. Now that is just to make sure that we're replicating human behavior. We can space out these actions to make sure we're not spamming. Okay, so make sure we're not flagged for quick actions, because if you've ever opened 10 profiles in 30 seconds manually, you will get flagged on LinkedIn. Okay, that's a LinkedIn thing, right? It's not a software thing that I'm demonstrating now. But what we do have is safety measures, right, to avoid the risks that we don't want to fall into, to make sure that we don't get flagged. Okay, so this software replicates human behavior. It is not AI. Okay, so it's going to like a post. It's going to move it to the next phase. So here, for example. Okay, so we've liked a post. What do we want to do next? Edit the automation. If we quickly look on the triggers at the top left, it's going to add a day to the due date, which means it won't be spamming everything day after day, minute after minute, okay? We can space out when we want these actions to happen, okay? So the following day, in this case, we're going to like another post if there's one available, and then we're going to send them a message, okay? So I've configured just 3 test templates here. We can address them properly, and we can say exactly what we want to say. So dependent on who your ideal client is, that depends on what you would say, right? And I would work with you to make sure that that icebreaker is relevant, necessary, ethical, and makes sense. Because if you've spoken with these people before, we want to make sure that your message makes sense, okay? So what we're able to do is have 3 templates, and it will send one of them. And that's to make sure that it's not spamming the same message to multiple connections. Okay, we can then, it will wait before starting, and if it's unsuccessful after 5 attempts, it will class that lead as unresponsive, and it will move it from the system, and it will move it to the next stage, stage 2, which is the follow-up. It will process a maximum of 10 leads, and it will space the interval between each lead. Notice it only processes leads that are overdue or due today. That allows for the sequence to pause between due dates. Okay, so as we move along, this is now a message sequence. So if they haven't yet responded, a second message will be sent. And if we look at the triggers, when does that second message go? 4 days after the first one. Okay, so the first thing we need to check, have they replied? Move lead to another stage if they've replied. If they've replied, first response received, and it will move them, and none of these actions will kick in. If they haven't yet replied, it will try and like another post. It will send a follow-up message, again, totally configurable. And it will move lead to the next stage, stage 3. Process maximum of 10, interval between leads, only process leads that are overdue or due today. Okay, and as we go along, if they still haven't responded, it will check if they've responded, it will move them. If they haven't yet responded, it will send a soft close, right? So this is the process, this is the system that I talk about before the software. Okay, you can do this without the software. Let me repeat that. You can do this without the software. However, when you have multiple prospects to contact, to track, to follow up with, and to reply to, it's very easy to get lost and the work isn't done. This makes it super simple and super fast. So when they reply, let's say they've replied, notice there's no automation behind this stage. That's where you intercept it as a human and you have the conversation. Okay, now if you know the Lead Magpie system, you will know what comes next. Okay, shout if you need what that system looks like. I can share that with you too. I hosted a masterclass yesterday and it's around 30 minutes of your time. Okay, but that is a very brief overview of what is possible in phase 1 of Lead Magpie software, but you must understand the system first. I'm Pete Tarbuck. I am owner and founder of Lead Magpie. If you would like more information, please get in touch. You can find me on LinkedIn. Thanks a lot.